Greetings from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of The Toxic Avenger. Are you a black actor? Are you tired of not getting nominated for an Academy Award? Do you wish you were British because it seems that the only black actors who get nominated for Oscars are British or South African or not from the United States? Are you tired of playing the sidekick to the white guy? Are you tired of being the first one who gets killed in a science fiction movie or a horror movie? Well, Troma Entertainment has the solution for you. Whiteface. It works for me, and it'll work for you. It even works for the Oscar itself. Do you think that long, thick, hard thing in front of the Oscar's body is a sword? We now take you to the Walt Disney Center for the Oscars, and you will hear from somebody in a suit which tells you that it's going to be an important message and very boring. Come in, man in suit with boring message. Thank you, Lloyd. You know, this dust-up about black actors not getting nominated for Academy Awards, this is just a symptom. It's really a distraction. The issue is bigger than that. The issue is that it's about the body. It's not about the cold in the head and taking an aspirin. This is about the body that is cancerous. Unfortunately, the entire media and entertainment industry is dominated by a handful of giant, devil-worshipping international media conglomerates. And two of those conglomerates, one is called Fox, one is called Viacom. Fox is controlled by an 80-year-old guy who's white, who's probably sexist, who's probably racist, probably hates women. And the other one, Viacom, is controlled by a 90-year-old guy who is probably white, probably sexist, probably racist. So that's 40% of the media. What do you expect? And the rest of the other two or three conglomerates, they're also controlled by a handful of people. What do you expect? They're not a diversity of voices. We have to go to the body and cleanse and clean the body of the cancers. For example, the Fairness Doctrine should be brought back. The Fairness Doctrine was abolished in 1987. We now go by satellite to somebody of color who has never been nominated for anything, nor should he, but the Toxic Avenger. Toxie, come in and explain the Fairness Doctrine, please.
Thank you. Until 1987, the Fairness Doctrine required all media outlets, television or radio, to talk about both sides of an issue, whether it be Republican or Democratic issues. Now, since the Fairness Doctrine has been done away with, we have 5 straight hours of Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh without any 5 hours to counter that argument.
Thank you, Toxie. Another way to cleanse and cure the cancerous body of American media is to bring back the financial syndication rule. That will certainly lead to more black people getting Oscars and Emmys and Nobel Peace Prizes. The financial syndication rule required the conglomerates to buy and present independent product. They call it product, I call it art. The financial syndication rule was created to prevent the television industry from becoming vertically integrated. It meant that NBC TV or Comcast NBC or Comcast Universal NBC, whatever that giant entity is known as, was not supposed to own the content that it showed. In fact, it was required under the financial syndication rule. NBC was required to program at least a third of its content from independent voices, independent sources. If the financial syndication rule was still around, we would have a lot more voices. We'd have a lot more diversity. When Troma was established, the Consent Decree of 1948 existed, which allowed multitude of diversity and voices. We now take you to Pocahontas Super Tromette, who is going to tell you exactly what the Consent Decree of 1948 was all about.
Hi, I'm Pocahontas, and I'm public domain. The Consent Decree of 1948 prohibited the cartel of movie studios from owning the movie theaters. As a result of the Consent Decree of 1948, independent theaters, independent filmmakers, art house productions, and diversity in cinema flourished. Unfortunately, during the Reagan era, the Consent Decree of 1948 was done away with, and now the movie theaters are once again controlled by the evil corporate conglomerates that prevent diversity. In fact, it's a result of the Consent Decree of 1948 that Troma Entertainment was able to show its movies in movie theaters all over the country, something it cannot do today.
Thank you, Pocahontas. Those years at law school really paid off. As I've said, the issue of black people not getting nominated for Academy Awards, that isn't the issue. That's the symptom. The body is sick. The body of American media is dying of cancer. And another reason it is so doing is because of the issue of public domain. We don't have public domain. Public domain should be the sun around which copyright law should be a small moon. Instead, it's the other way around. Now it's all about copyright law, so greedy giant medias can make money, and the public is at a loss. I don't explain these technicalities well, so we now take you via satellite to Super Tromette Bulimia.
When Thomas Jefferson started copyright law, the initial idea was that the artist was going to hold on to the piece for 14 years, so he would have time to benefit from his work. And then it was going to be turned over to the public so that new works could be made, and the original artist could still benefit from the original. But then it was a change to 50 years, and then 75 years, and then 90 years, and now it seems as if it's going to go on forever. So that Disney, who made their billions of dollars from public domain, like Sleeping Beauty and Fantasia and Cinderella, has now lobbied and put a complete stop to public domain. So now Mickey Mouse will never be public domain, and there will never be a black Mickey Mouse, or a gay Mickey Mouse, or a Jewish Mickey Mouse. Under today's copyright laws, if Shakespeare had been alive, he would have been sued by the Italian playwright that he took Romeo and Juliet from. And then afterwards, we would have never had all of the ballets that were based on Romeo and Juliet, and the operas, and the dancing, and the films, like Troma's Tromeo and Juliet. It's actually just come to my attention that speaking about public domain is now copyrighted, so I'm going to turn this over.
On the bright side, there is still one major medium that is truly democratic, and that is the free, open, and diverse internet. Net neutrality on the internet. It's the only reason Troma exists. Right now, it's the last level playing field. If Disney puts something up on the internet and the public likes it, they go there. If Troma puts something on the internet that they don't like what I'm saying, people don't go there. So it's truly democratic, it's truly diverse, there are millions of voices. That's a wonderful thing. We must save net neutrality on the internet. At this very moment, hundreds of millions of dollars are being spent on lobbyists in Washington to get rid of net neutrality. The small number of media conglomerates want to get rid of net neutrality. They want to build a superhighway where only they can afford to put their content up. And the superhighway will be the only fast-working highway. The public will naturally go there. The rest of us, perhaps the people who are going to be curing testicular cancer, they're going to have to go on the bumpy road that takes a long, long time to buffer. And once again, the world will have fewer voices, less diversity, and be more in the hands of Rupert Murdoch and Sumner Redstone than ever before. So if we can't bring back the Fairness Doctrine, if we can't bring back the Consent Decree of 1948, if we can't bring back the financial syndication rule, at least save net neutrality on the internet, or else we are all going to be living in the world of Brave New World or 1984. Now back to you, Lloyd. Thank you, serious man in suit. That was beautifully spoken. Whoa, it's 5:30. I got to go home to my undernourished children who are in bad health and get beaten up by some cops. I got to take this makeup off.